Hello and welcome into this week's edition of The Pole Position right here on Racing News Now. As always, I'm your host, Garth Allen. Thank you once again for joining me today. If this is your first time catching a Racing News Now video, consider going down below and hitting that subscribe button and ringing the bell for notifications so you don't miss a thing going forward from RNN. On today's edition of The Pole Position, we have 5 races to cover from the series that we follow, those being 3 NASCAR races. Trucks, Xfinity, and Cup were all in Bristol this weekend for their respective night races. ARCA was on the dirt at the Illinois State Fairgrounds in Springfield, Illinois, and IndyCar was at Pocono with the Tricky Triangle. So let's get into the NASCAR stuff first, as that was the first stuff that happened on the weekend. Thursday night for the trucks, the 21st annual UNOH 200 laps from the Bristol Motor Speedway. Johnny Sauter picks up win number 5 for the 2018 season. Stuart Friesen came home a very close second. John Hunter Nemechek, who looked like he had the win well in hand, led 104 laps and was leading with 2 to go. Gets past, slowed up for I'm not really sure if he was having mechanical problems or what it was, but slowed up there and allowed Sauter and Friesen to get by. He ends up in 3rd. Parker Kligerman and Todd Gilliland rounded out the top 5. Rest of your top 10, Justin Haley, Ben Rhodes, Matt Crafton, Noah Gragson, and Grant Enfinger. Alright, so we'll move on to the Xfinity Series for the weekend. They were also in action from Bristol for the Food City 300, the 37th annual Food City 300. We ended up going 310 laps in this one into overtime from the Bristol Motor Speedway. Kyle Larson picks up the win on the night, an absolutely dominating victory after Kyle Busch was taken out early. 202 laps led by Kyle Larson of the 310. Christopher Bell gave him a good run at the end, but couldn't quite get there. So did Justin Allgaier, 2nd and 3rd for both of them. Cole Custer and Joey Logano rounded out the top 5. Rest of your top 10, Elliott Sadler, a great run from Michael Annett this week in 7th. Chase Elliott, Tyler Reddick, and Matt Tifft rounded out the top 10. All right, your final NASCAR race of the weekend, also from the Bristol Motor Speedway, 500 laps around the half-mile Bristol Motor Speedway, the 58th annual Bass Pro Shops NRA night race. Kurt Busch picks up his first win of the 2018 season, now the 3rd Stewart-Haas car to have won a race this season. Kyle Larson, as we saw, winner of the Xfinity race from the night before, gave him a good run at the end, but couldn't quite get there, even with 30-lap fresher tires. 2nd on the night for Kyle Larson. Chase Elliott, another strong run after leading 112 laps, comes home in the 3rd position. Joey Logano and Eric Jones rounded out the top 5. Rest of your top 10 was Clint Bowyer, Ryan Blaney, Alex Bowman, Jimmy Johnson, and Kevin Harvick. Alright, so that's it for your NASCAR stuff on the weekend, but we do have one stock car race left. That was the ARCA Racing Series from the 1-mile dirt track at the Illinois State Fairgrounds in Springfield, Illinois, the Allen Crow 100. Christian Eckes picks up the win on the day in only his 2nd dirt race he's ever been in, and a very impressive feat, as he had Sheldon Creed and Logan Seavey right behind him, 2 guys that have a lot of experience on the dirt. Travis Braden and Ryan Unzicker rounded out the top 5. Rest of your top 10 were Brett Holmes, Gus Dean, hometown favorite Kelly Kovsky in 8th, Riley Herbst, and Natalie Decker, who had a very interesting day. Don't know that we have time to go into everything that happened on her day on here. If you want the details on that, you'll have to go back and watch the ARCA Rewind show, which went up last night. And we also have rewind shows for all 3 of the NASCAR races on the weekend as well. Breaking those down much more in depth than what we do here on Pole Position. Full race results, playoff grid going forward, or in ARCA's case, just the points. Post-race interviews from the Media Center for all the NASCAR races, race highlights for the Cup race, and exclusive race winner interviews for the ARCA races, including this one, an exclusive interview with Christian Eckes, which was actually a really good interview. So you'll have to go check that out if you want to know more info on any of those races this weekend. All right, the final race for the weekend was the IndyCar Series. They were in action from the Pocono Raceway in the ABC Supply 500. Alexander Rossi absolutely put on a clinic in this race. Led 180. Yes, he led 80 laps more than how many laps they ran. Led 180 laps out of the 200 total. Only 4 cars remaining on the lead lap at the end of this race. And 2 of those, Scott Dixon and Sebastian Bourdais, very close to being a lap down, both over 40 seconds behind Rossi. Will Power, the only car within 5 seconds of Rossi at the end of the race. He was about 4.5 seconds back at the end of the race. Just an absolutely dominating run by Alexander Rossi, closing that points gap to Scott Dixon to 29 points, keeping himself in that championship conversation. Joseph Newgarden rounded out the top 5 as the first car 1 lap down. Rest of your top 10 was Zach Veach, Marco Andretti, Simon Pagenaud, Charlie Kimball, and Ed Carpenter. All right, so that's your results from the ABC Supply 500, and that, I believe, will do it tonight for us on the pole position. If you haven't done it already, you need to go down below and hit that subscribe button and ring the bell for notifications so you don't miss anything going forward. We had a lot of exclusive coverage that went up yesterday from Springfield for the ARCA race that if you weren't subscribed, you probably didn't see it. So you need to do that if you want to see all of the exclusive content that we have that goes out from these races, including a very entertaining chat with Christian Eckes after he won that race yesterday. So if you're not subscribed, you're probably missing out on this stuff, so you need to. And if you like the video, you need to hit that big thumbs up button. It is much appreciated when you do. So with that, this has been the pole position, where you always start on the front row. I'm Garth Allen for Racing News Now.